Hello, my name is Dr. Eric Susser, and today I'd like to talk to you about Book 11 of Homer's Odyssey. Homer's great epic, the Odyssey, tells the story of the hero Odysseus and his Odyssey, or his journey home, after fighting 10 years at Troy. Homer's first epic poem, the Iliad, tells the story of the hero Achilles, who dies on the battlefield. But Odysseus survives, and the second epic tells not the story of battle, but the stories of what happens afterwards and his journey home. Now, Odysseus was fighting for 10 years at Troy, and it takes him 10 more years to get home. He does get home, I will tell you that. And so he left a teenage wife and a newborn son, and he returns home after 20 years to an older, beautiful wife, but a son who has now become a man. His wife's name is Penelope, and his son's name is Telemachus. So in Book 11, Odysseus is instructed by the goddess Circe to travel to the underworld in order to get directions home, to talk to Tiresias, who's the now dead great prophet, the blind prophet Tiresias. But in order to speak to him, he has to go to Hades because Tiresias is now dead. I want to suggest to you, though, that Tiresias really doesn't give Odysseus a lot of information when he goes there. It's not like he gives directions like MapQuest or Google Map. He tells Odysseus that what to do to appease Poseidon when his journey's ended. He tells him things to watch out for. But I want to suggest that it really is not the real reason for Odysseus going to Hades or going to the underworld. Not surprisingly, the real reason for Odysseus going to the underworld is for him to literally confront death. Because it's only when he has a sense of death and mortality does he have a sense also of the purpose of living and its meaning. So Odysseus and his men sail to the utmost edge of the ocean to get to Hades. It's a dark, gloomy place where, as Homer says, where the wretched sky is always racked with night's gloom. Where the wretched sky is always racked with night's gloom. It's a great image. And then to make it gloomier, they dig a pit, and they slit a ram's throat, and they pour this pit with blood. Because it's only when the spirits or shades of Hades sense the blood that they will come out and come towards him, and he can get Tiresias to come to him. This is a great example of the privileging of the body in pagan culture. So Homer's culture is a pagan culture, and in paganism, the physical body, the sensual self, is privileged. Therefore, when you die, you are diminished. You become less than yourself. You lose the physical body, you literally become a shadow of your former self, right? Very unlike metaphysical traditions like Christianity and Hinduism, where when the spirit leaves the body after death, the spirit or soul is freed and purified. And ideally, if you're Christian, goes to heaven, and ideally, if you're Hindu, can escape reincarnation, the cycles of birth and death, and become one with Brahman, which is like nirvana. So in the Odyssey, we have such a strong sense of the physical. Not only do the shades come to the blood like vampires, they're like zombies too until they drink it and can remember who they were. But Odysseus is able to hold them off until Tiresias drinks, and he holds them off with his sword. Now, these are shadows or shades, so a sword really can't do physical damage. There's no physical body. But it's the idea of the body is so prevalent that it's enough to hold them at bay. So after Tiresias gives his message, I think something much more important happens, and that is Odysseus confronts his mother. His mother, who, when he left Ithaca, his kingdom, years earlier, was still alive. And so two things happen. One, she's able to tell him something very important, which is his son Telemachus and his wife Penelope are still alive and are still faithful to him and are holding the kingdom for him. So he knows that there's a purpose or reason for coming home. And that's great motivation. But she also gives him an urgency by being dead and him experiencing that loss. And it's so poignant in the chapter in the book when he tries to hug his mother, who's now dead, and he can't because she's a spirit. 3 times he tries to embrace her, and 3 times his arms pass right through her. And it is the lamentation of that loss that really brings home to Odysseus the urgency and need for him to get home and find and retrieve his self, his sense of self, his life, his wife, his child. There's so much more to talk about in the book. I really encourage you to read the poem. It's magnificent, but I'm afraid I'm out of time. Thank you.